So in the last 1 hour, we have watched that documentary called Crashed. Yes, it's a crashed as in the road carnage, but you certainly may have been crushed just watching that in terms of the sheer bloody nature of accidents that we saw captured live. If that doesn't change the way you approach, the way you drive, or as a pedestrian, your appreciation of, the way the roads must be respected in terms of traffic regulations, then I don't know what else can change you. On the back of that documentary, you're going to have a conversation. It is about the pandemic of road crashes, ending the carnage. The fundamental question that we need to be asking after such a shocking documentary, what next? Let's get to that. Let's tell you the story in numbers now. 517, that is the total number of people killed January to February alone. This must shock anybody into action. In fact, it's not a war zone, by the way. This is a very peaceful country. And yet we are having 570 people dying in just 2 months because of road crashes, and this is according to Ghana Police Service. Now, if you look at the regional distribution, it tells its own story, doesn't it? Because you see that the Northeast region is the lowest. What is it that is happening in the Northeast region that has only 2 crashes in 2 months out of the more than 500 cases that I talked about? I think we need to be learning about that. Is it because there's a low number of vehicles in the Northeast, but there's a lot of motorcycles there too? Because the number I talked about has a combination of vehicles, wheel drives and etc. involved in the accident, but also 2 wheels are also involved in the accidents there. So there must be something happening there that it's so low, because we want to be replicating Northeast, right? And I think that's one of the key things that we should also be looking at as we look at the deaths. What about regions with success stories like Northeast? Let's look at that. We'll try and look at that shortly. But then look at Ashanti region. That's a contrast, right? Ashanti region has highest number of fatalities this year from road crashes, 108. Again, what is happening in Ashanti region that accounts for this? I mean, I have no idea. And we'll be speaking to the experts who understand this. And so maybe we can get to the bottom of this and learn lessons from here. Learn lessons from Ashanti region. Stop doing what Ashanti region is doing and do more of what Northeast is doing. These are things that we'll be looking at tonight here. But here, 2021, the accident report, January, February, there were 2,560 reported cases. This is shocking, right? This number of accidents have been reported just in January, 2 months. I told you about the figure of deaths. This is just how many cases of road crashes that we've seen. Now, commercial cases makes up 1,581, again, according to Ghana Police Service. And so we're seeing, more of the cases involved commercial vehicles. Again, there's a reason why that is. What this shows is that we know what the problem is. And so if you're designing a solution, you want to target commercial drivers first, because that is where you get the bigger chunk of cases of road crashes. And then, of course, you come to motorcycles as the second layer of focus in terms of focusing what the solutions will be, because you have 974. Now, in terms of accident report, again, January, February, this is pedestrians knocked down. You're walking the road and out of nowhere, a car runs into you, right? This is 2,766 pedestrian knockdowns. Out of this, people die, by the way. Some get maimed. You cannot walk again, or you get permanently maimed in some form or shape. Now, in terms of the pedestrians who've been knocked down, we have 771 persons killed January, March 2021, right? This again, must blow your mind to doing something. And this is one of those areas that is a collective problem that must be solved collectively. Now, this graph tells you a story, because if you're looking at fatalities January to March comparison between 2020 to 2021. In 2020, at the same time, we were at in 2020, yes, we were at 595. This year, we are at 771. Clearly tells you it's not getting better, it's getting worse. And again, if you look at the trend from 2015 to 2020, again, the story is our road carnage pandemic is getting even worse. It's getting even worse because you have the lowest you've gone is 2015. It shoots up quite significantly 2016 to 2,284, drops in 2017 to 1,823, and then in 2018 again drops even further to 2020. Then see what begins to happen in 2019 and 2020. It begins to climb again. And then in 2020, we have this highest peak yet. I mean, the way 2021 has started in just 2 months, this is going to be surpassed very easily. And we're talking about fatalities, number of people dead. This is a story of why we need to have this conversation tonight on the back of what we watched with Sir Kwame Boateng's brilliant documentary. These are the numbers. In that documentary, you saw the faces behind the numbers. It can be you. Don't kid yourself. It can be you. Tonight, we'll be exploring that simple question: what next after such a shocking experience in that documentary? Stay with me. My guests are seated right after this break. And thank you very much for joining us here on PM Express. And this is a conversation I've been waiting to have with my friends who obviously are going to be helping us look at the problem of road accidents in this country. And it's, I'm pretty sure you watched the documentary. We premiered it today at the Shippers Authority Auditorium. And we, in essence, want to have a conversation on the back. There was a conversation on the back at the auditorium, but this is not something that can ever end in terms of talking about it. And so I'm delighted to say that joining me in the studio is DSP Alexander Bing, who is the Director in charge of Education and Training at MTTD. He's been at this for a long time. I'm curious to know if he feels fatigued talking about this problem. And we need to say thank you to him just for keeping at it. Because I'm pretty sure, I was shocked by the videos I saw. He sees it every day, every single day, and he still goes out there to do his job. So a lot of my colleagues couldn't watch it because they just can't bear the sight of the death. Also joining me is joining me is Advocacy, is MP for Achimota, is an accident survivor. I'm grateful that you joined me.
I thought you were going to add my other name, Alexander.
Oh, you're also Alexander. Okay, Alexander Advocacy. I'm grateful. Kennedy Osenyako is the chairman, Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament. Will also join us by Zoom. And David Osafo Adontin, Director of Planning and Programming, National Road Safety Authority, will also join me via Zoom tonight. Sir Kwame Boateng, who also did his work, will also speak to us briefly, of course, as we begin to expand this conversation. I want to start with Mr. David Osafo Adontin, who, of course, with the Road Safety Authority. David, thank you for joining us. Hello, David.
Thank you, and good evening, my friend.
Yes. Now, the question is, we watched the shocking video. What happens now?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to all cherished viewers. My good evening to my chairman, Mr. Kennedy, and then Supo Obeng, and then Sir Kwame Boateng, if you're around. I think today we had a very good session at the Shippers Authority conference room, all the stakeholders, together with our Minister for Transport, and then good friends and brothers from Parliament joining us. And we were led by Sir Boateng's on the ground documentary, which has clearly defined the scale and magnitude of the road safety problem in Ghana. I think that it has really opened our eyes. Some of us who are already in the business, we have had it on series of occasions, raising the red flag to Ghana and telling everybody what the problem looks like, where the problem comes from, who is involved, and then how it happens, where it happens. Somehow we have not been able to drum home to the bottom and to the heart of the people in a manner that people can feel it. But I think that clearly today, the feeling has been defined. The problem has been defined by Ted Boateng's documentary. He has touched the hearts of every stakeholder. I see it as problem defined, and so moving from today on, we need not talk about the problem again. What we need is solutions. So we are in the era of solutions. Whoever has something to do to get the problem solved, I think this is the time. The documentary has clearly defined it. The lines have been drawn. And so there is no need for us to do the talking too much again. We know the problem. Let's go for the solutions. It has clearly indicated what part the National Road Safety Authority must do, what the police must do, what DVLA must do, what transport operators must do, and even what Parliament can also do. And so now that we all know our roles, let's go for it. And then let's go and do what is required of us individually as institutions and then collectively as Ghana. I think this is the position where we are now. So it is the era of solutions.
Yeah, and I'll come
we
to
are no longer going to talk about the problem.
I'll come to the specific solutions first, because that's really where this conversation I want us to focus on. But I want to bring in Alexander Obeng to the conversation. Suffice to say that what you watched today, it was shocking for everybody else, but for you, I dare say not so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. And I want to associate with many Ghanaians that graced the premiering and the expression they made in terms of a myriad of condolences to many of our compatriots who have been crushed for losing their loved ones through road crashes. And for us, it's a diurnal occurrence which is preventable, which has inadequate solution and is impacting on lives and properties. And solutions abound, interventions are all over, including those that we have even signed to under the Decade of Action for Road Safety, which are incorporated in our National Road Safety Strategy 3, which was since 2011, these same road safety issues have been incorporated in the SDGs. We have Goal 3.6 and 11.2 from this year 2020 even to 2030.
Interesting.
Which the experts having sat analyze what the performance of Ghana and the world in the past 10 years, the expert group have come to firm agreement that the solutions are there, and this is hinged on these principles that underlies the safe system approach, and therefore they have emphasized that road safety is intervention based. It has countermeasures, but Ghana over the years have paid lip service, because if the grounds of road safety are not visited with these interventions, we don't expect much outcome, but this crash outcome. And we are all aware that many of these crashes are as a result of human behavior.
Yeah.
And we all have agreed that if you rely on hope and admonishment. Because of human nature, we are bound to fail ourselves, and therefore systems have been developed within the system of UN, and countries that have not paid lip service to, but actually implemented these that are not beyond any country, have seen the benefits.
Can you, for the public education, bullet for me what the key generally agreed interventions are that we know and we probably incorporate into our laws? What are the key major highlight bullet interventions that we need to implement now?
I think I mentioned our National Road Strategy 3, which is hinged on the UN Decade of Action for Road Safety, which was promulgated by UN on the 2nd March in 2010, which we incorporated in ours on the 11th November 2011 at the State House, that of all the road safety plan, the action plan that was espoused by the World Health Organization, these 5 pillars are the very pillars that supports the National Road Safety Territory of Ghana. And this one is that member country in Ghana, we have ratified that we will invest in road safety and build good road safety management system. That's the first one. It has so many things that we have to do to support that. 2, to ensure that we have safer road that will ensure safer mobility.
Okay, so this is the actual infrastructure.
Yes, safer road ensures safer mobility in this world of ours. And countries that are investing in that one purposefully over time are achieving results. And that's why even experts will tell you that at least, if nothing at all, 2 roads in Ghana that's form the basis of our road network spine. The N1 from Elubo to Aflao, and then the N6 in front, just from Circle to Kumasi to Paga, joining the N10. These 2 roads, which are West African highways, which where the policy is supposed to dualize it. Of course, we've not been able to do it because we are paying left service and only dualizing when this road interact with urban areas. Have also been failing. So safer road, as an example I've given, that will ensure safer road. The second one. The third one is safer vehicle. And there are so many things that we need to do as a country. And then safer road users. And there are so many things. And then in Ghana, we also added enhanced enforcement. And that's why everybody is talking about investing in technology in order to ensure that police operations are automated. And we have been dragging our feet there for all these years. And the last bit is emergency medical service.
In case the accident happens.
So in the world have 5, but Ghana we expanded ours to 6. You ask yourself, how far have we gone when you take it one by one for the last 10 years?
What was your verdict on that?
My verdict on that, I don't have to pay a verdict because last year, UN member countries, the transport ministers, that's what the General Assembly, they converged at the waterfront in Sweden, Stockholm. And when the books were opened, when you go into the saving lives, the next steps from 2020 to 2030, in that document, the experts diagnosed the performance of countries from 2011 to 2020. And we performed abysmally, and we missed all targets. The only thing that they said we were able to achieve was that road safety, we were able to incorporate it in the SDGs, and we have been able to engender interest among politicians, policymakers, and all that.
Which is really what we've done now, which is also engendering interest, right?
And in terms of
moving beyond
reducing deaths by half,
Okay.
But that's the objective. Road safety means that mobility without risk of harm or
So
death.
reducing the death by
As
half.
for that one, we missed it terribly. And it's because we could not implement the interventions, countermeasures.
Yeah.
And those are the specifics.
I want
and I was happy what happened this
Today,
morning,
yeah.
that it was about intervention. What do we do? These are the things that we do. It is that we need to get things done on the ground.
Great starting point to this. But let me bring you in, Alexander, MP for Achimota. Let's start with your personal story. You're not having this conversation. You've experienced this problem.
Certainly.
What happened to you?
Good evening to your cherished viewers, and I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Joy FM and my brother Seth Kwame for coming up with this documentary. When I watched it tonight, I started asking myself, had not been the grace of God, I would have been part of the statistics.
Yeah.
I mean, for a member of parliament having been crashed into a river, obviously it was going to be a great
You crashed into a river.
Yeah, no, I almost went into the river. On 1st of February.
This year?
This year.
Oh.
It just happened. I mean, this is the...
Oh, I see the map there.
Yeah, that's it. On 1st of February, the majority caucus had gone to Koforidua to have a retreat. I mean, it was about 3 weeks when we had entered Parliament. And so we went there Friday, we finished on Monday. Monday, we finished around 2:30. And I had asked my driver to come back to Accra to rest, thinking that I could ask him to come to pick me back.
Yeah.
But when I called him and I realized, Koforidua to Accra, I mean, easily I could drive there because I wasn't too tired. We had a very relaxed weekend. And so I set off from Koforidua. I was driving a Ford F-150. When I got to Esioya, there's a bridge, very narrow bridge. Very narrow bridge. When I got there, I was in my lane. There was a taxi coming ahead of me, I mean in front of me. But I think he saw how narrow the bridge was, and so stopped for me to have a passage. Then a trotro van just veered off. I mean, I wouldn't say he veered off.
From the opposite direction.
He wouldn't mind the taxi that had parked, drove past the taxi, came straight to my car.
Head on.
Head on.
Wow.
Head on.
He didn't see you?
Speed.
I don't know.
Wow.
I'm sure it was a speed.
Okay.
I'm sure he thought he could be fast to get onto the bridge. Meanwhile, I had entered, and the taxi had actually given me the chance to pass. So he came, hit me. If anybody knows this bridge I'm talking about, it's so narrow.
It's a ravine.
To an extent that, I mean, by the time I got off the car, I realized I was just an inch into. And it's a very, very deep.
It's a valley.
Yes.
On both sides.
That's it. And so about 8 or 9 people in the trotro got hurt. There was a police officer in front. He came out and he was defending the driver.
Gee.
He wasn't in uniform, but he told me, I'm a police officer. I saw him. He tried to apply the brake, but the brake would not work. Let's help those who are seriously injured. So we helped them out. I mean, I had scratches on my body. These bruises, I felt I could still help people. Now, this thing has actually left a scar on my mind to an extent that the last 2 times I drove on that bridge, I had to close my eyes.
Wow.
And so tonight when I was watching the documentary, I was like, I was certainly going to be part of this.
You see yourself in the video?
Yes. Certainly going to be part of the statistics. And when it happened, I told myself, I voluntarily want to become an ambassador for road safety. And I checked some of the statements that had been made on the floor of Parliament during the 7th Parliament. And by my statistics, there were about 4 statements that were made on road safety. 2 or 3 of the makers of those statements are people who had actually experienced road accidents. And so I told myself I was going to add myself to these people and make sure I become an ambassador for road safety.
Okay, we'll get into because again we're in Parliament, and so you have some power, right? Into I want to drill down some specifics as to what the ambassador's role will do specifically to the problem. I want to bring in Kennedy Osei Nyako, who of course is the chair of the Roads Transport Committee in Parliament now. Kennedy, thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you, Ivan. How are you doing?
Can we just drill down straight to the big question? Parliament has passed a lot of laws. We all know from what we've just heard there from DSP Alexander Bain. Superintendent Alexander Bain, that we are failing at implementing our own policies. Question to you is, what must change now on the back of the shocking videos we've watched and all that we know happens with road crashes? What must change now from as a chairman looking at the problem and talking to people all the time?
That's my accident.
Oh, so this is the picture you're seeing on television right now is a picture of the Alexander Akwesiakwa's accident, who's MP for Achimota. He just talked about it there. This is the accident there. This is a real like head-on. You see that. You see the either side of the car. As you see, this is what people experience every day in Ghana. Some of them don't survive. Yes, Honorable Nyako.
Well, Evans, let me say a very good evening to your cherished viewers. And congratulations to you for putting up such a wonderful documentary. I was there myself. I watched it, and it was very sad seeing our brothers and sisters losing their lives as a result of some indiscipline among some road users or our drivers on our road. I think the carnage on our road is becoming too alarming, and the earlier we deal with it, the better. Because if you look at the statistics and how the accident rate is going, ballooning, it means we need to do everything possible to arrest it. But the issue here is not about as if we don't have adequate laws to deal with those issues. There are adequate laws. We recently even passed a new law, National Road Safety Act, to be able to give, let's say, more teeth for the National Road Safety Authority to be able to bite.
So I guess that's comes to my question. So what must change? I think the problem today, we've seen what the problem is. I think that is there's no doubt. So what must change now so we can fix it?
Well, enforcement is very key. You see, enforcement of those laws. If we are not able to enforce those laws on our roads and punish those indisciplined road users or drivers, then we will not go anywhere. Because you have people just driving carelessly, okay, and causing harm to people, lives and properties, and these people are not being punished, okay. Some people are driving and they don't even have a valid driving license, okay. Some are even driving with, they are drink driving, okay. Some are even have problems with their vehicles, old rickety vehicles, with problem with the tires still on the road. So you see, this is a collective effort that all of us should come together and work together. It is not the responsibility of only National Road Safety Authority. MTTD should be part of it, DVLA should be part of it, so that collectively we work together. We share data and information together and penalize people, okay? Prevention is very key. How do we prevent people? So we have to offer refresher courses to this commercial. The only country that I've seen, well, I don't know about other African countries, but when you travel elsewhere, you have a body that regulates commercial transport sector. But here, apart from the transport unions managing their own activities, we don't have one. Why do we have one for the let's say the aviation sector, but we don't have one for the commercial travel sector? We need to have it so that they will be able to monitor and regulate them properly. And that is why I'm happy that this new act, the Act 933, that we've just passed in 2019, has a lot of, we have expanded the scope and the mandate and given more power to even the National Road Safety Authority to be able to sanction people. So that is the point that we have to, the angle that we have to look. But you see, we cannot enforce laws if even we don't invest heavily in the sector. We need to invest. Roads, if you want to provide road safety standards, it is all about investment. We need to invest in technology. We cannot rely on the 19th and 18th century approach, where we see our police having that speed gang, old speed gang, and all those things. But now we have to be having more reliable technology elsewhere, recording speed of vehicles at any point in time and reporting it at a central point, and maybe alerting those on the roads, maybe the security on the road, to be able to apprehend those people. But we don't have that kind of system now. We need to invest heavily. That is why today I made a serious case, that government, though it is doing its part, it is giving resources to the National Road Safety. It is not enough. We need to give them enough resources. We are talking about road safety campaigns across the country. It is not about 24 or 25 million Ghana cedi budget that is going to solve this problem. They need a huge budget. They need to buy the necessary technology, give the police, because it's the police that are on the road ensuring and enforcing those road traffic regulations. So if they don't have the means, they don't have the technology, how are they going to do it? Recently, a very key person he has played a key role when it comes to national road safety, over the weekend nearly lost his life with his family because a stationary vehicle or broke down vehicle was on the way. And some time ago we brought this discussion back that we need to even have these towing services on our road, so that we'll be able to move broken down vehicle, accident vehicles immediately within, let's say, when accident happens or one vehicle broke down, we shouldn't spend more than an hour to move those vehicles away from. But it became an issue. People thought, somebody want to make money, so we don't have to do it. Now we see the lives. We don't have, Ghana don't have that kind of, but we don't have that, let's say, those dual carriages and all those. We don't have it. Our roads are the single, from Accra to Kumasi. It's a single lane road. And look at the number of vehicles that are applying on this route. So until we are able to build our road networks, so we need to be able to build more dual carriages, expand our road, make it, about 4 or 5 or 6 lanes, so that more vehicles can move without any head-on collision. It will reduce because if you look at the accidents that are happening on our road, majority of them are head-on collision.
Because the road is just single.
Trying to.
Mr. Nyako, stay with me. Let me ask you the question, Mr. Obeng. He talks about enforcement. What is the problem with enforcement?
I think he provided a solution.
You're not resourced enough.
He said that if you look at the enforcement effort of the state, where traffic police is concerned, it has been since 1952. Trained, deploy police officers to go and stand on the road with their hands and other handheld evidence gathering device. That is not what is done anywhere in the world. It has changed.
What happens now?
And that's why. It's obvious why you know.
But because the conversation.
But I'm telling you that it's obvious that, and this is what has also been recommended. Like it is done in the best practice go to the Orient, in the Occident, everywhere is supporting police operation, MTTD or traffic operation with technology. For example, elsewhere, you not necessarily see traffic police officers in their white walking about, raising their hand, stopping vehicle, checking whether you have done your roadworthiness, whether you have done your insurance, whether you are speeding. It is never done anywhere. Given the hundreds of thousands of vehicles that are added to the existing stock we have elsewhere, they deploy cameras, for example, traffic sensors.
But we have a lot of cameras now in town.
These are surveillance. Okay. They have traffic sensors, and it is able to detect through the vehicle registration number whether you are above the speed limits, whether you are driving on the verge, whether you have not done your MID, whether you have your insurance, whether you have not done your roadworthy, whether you have run a red light and all that. These are the ways to check.
And how do you punish a person?
No, it's obvious. When you have traffic sensor, it's like the police officer who is there but absent at the and it's at the back office, and therefore it increases sense of, first of all, it's psychological. It increases sense of detection and then apprehension, and everybody becomes detected. Those who are not and commit, they know that they will be issued with what? Sanction by notices. Electronic.
Why are you going to find a person in Ghana?
Oh, I'm saying that we have database of all vehicle owners, basic. We have automated at DVLA. We have a database of all license holders. These registers, consistent with Regulation 1 of this LI, are being held by DVLA. And we pride that DVLA has automated their system. What is it prevents what prevents us from having a system that will integrate, sit on these data? Now we have MID data, we are aware, a motor insurance database.
Yeah.
All vehicle owners have done compulsory insurance. And this insurance is now automated. That police or with a press of a button on my phone, star 920 star 57 hash, and I enter your vehicle number. I will know whether the vehicle is
insured or not.
Insured or not. For example, what prevents Ghana from having a system that will integrate this and give real solution in terms of detecting whose vehicle is on the road, who has committed what offense, and then we will be forthcoming, the state will be forthcoming to MTTD with evidence of having committed one offense or the other that otherwise would have led to a crash.
Yeah.
And then you receive sanction or notice on your phone. And this is what is done.
And the point you make, I'm going to bring Sekwai Mbati because he's a journalist. And Seth, you did this brilliant work. I mean, just the point he just made, we say, for example, that one of the reasons why we can't enforce the law in Ghana because the police officers are corrupt, right? But if you take them out of the road, take them from the roads, and you put in technology, who are you going to bribe? I mean, Seth, I mean, is that something that you sort of pursued in this fantastic work?
I think that is the way out. I remember this evening on the news, I was telling my colleague that I'm very careful. Yes, I know people. That when you arrest me, I know the people to call. But I'm careful, I will not do that. I'm always careful, or I make sure that I don't have any problem with my car. Is my insurance working, my roadworthy is working, everything before I settle. You understand? Because I don't want to find myself in any trouble and place a call to somebody to come and help me. It's also part of the corruption. So let's imagine this technology is available now. Who are you going to call? And is this not going to help? Evans, in case you jump the red light and you are stopped, who can you call? It's evidence, it's there, it shows. So I think that is the way to go because some of us, we have all traveled and we've seen what happens elsewhere. That no police officer will stop you on the road. You get home and there is ticket waiting for you. And if you want, don't go and pay. It builds up, you pay penalty, you are taken to court. And the system is working. So I think it is time that we also adopted this and put our resources into this. If we really want to save lives on our roads, that is the way to go, Evans.
I mean, Ms. Akwa, you say you want to become an ambassador. Specifically, what do you want to see? What are you contributing to this fight?
Well, I think it's more of an advocacy to ensure that we put pressure on those who are supposed to take decisions on our behalf. Certainly, we all agree to the fact that we need technology. I mean, the technology will be the leveler. If I'm an MP and I drive through the red light and it catches me, there's no way the technology is going to see me as a member of parliament. So I'm going to be
maybe to see your sticker.
You know, but
That's just by the way.
so certainly these are things we have to put pressure on, so that the people who are supposed to take decisions on our behalf will want to avert their minds to them, because we cannot afford to lose lives this way. We cannot. I mean, if we know the value of life and we know the number of people that have been rendered fatherless and motherless because of these accidents, then we'd have to find the money.
I mean, can Parliament do more?
Yes, I think Parliament can do more.
Because you started by telling us how many statements have been read.
Yes.
And
I was a bit disappointed.
Exactly.
I was a bit.
So, I mean, that's why I was hoping you say you bring a statement, because obviously the 4 before you didn't make any difference. So it comes back, what more can Parliament do?
Well, I think that it's about putting pressure, like I said.
Okay.
You know, when we have gotten all the laws, and I mean, exactly the fact that you have the committee chair part of this program, he comes to understand the issues better. And so if it has to do the fact that finding money or putting pressure on the various institutions that are supposed to find the money for these things to be implemented, it's about our priorities. It's about priorities.
Thankfully, I have Mr. Donting from the Road Safety Authority. Mr. Donting, I mean, I'm going to be very crisp with you, because you started by saying we know the problem, we've seen it, we don't want to talk about it again. So, crisply and briefly tell me, what is the Road Safety Authority going to do differently now in clear terms to address the problem? Hello, Mr. Donting. Yes, can you please unmute for me? Can you unmute? Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, you can hear me now.
Yes.
But my colleagues have already enumerated some of the specifics and the responsibilities of all the stakeholders. Our honorables have indicated their policy issues, and I think that we must thank Parliament this time round, bringing the National Road Safety Commission to an authority and providing that mandate for us to enforce.
Mr. Donting, let me bust your bubble a bit. Since they changed you into an authority, the statistics show us that the situation has become worse, not better. This is the worst year. This is the worst 2 months we've had in the last 5 years.
Yes, so I think, as the chairman of the select committee said, now Parliament will be required to pass our LI. There's an LI that is going to Parliament to operationalize the Act 993, which means that, as he said, now we need to regulate the commercial passenger transport industry. So that regulator has come. Now, once we begin to put in place mechanisms and systems to regulate that industry, then we are assured of a safe system for public transport. Now, I think it's also been mentioned about the technology for the police. And this is the time for police to roll on from that manual and excuse my word, primitive way of enforcing road traffic regulations to a modern one.
Well, what is the Road Safety Authority going to do about procuring or influencing policymakers to procure for the police that technology?
Yes, if you ask my good friend who is there, we have a strong working group with the police. And this technology issue we are talking about is advanced. We've gone very far. At the moment, we are left to just about 2 steps. And we, National Road Safety Authority, we are working in close collaboration with the police. Very soon, I can assure you that you're going to see some cameras being installed on our highway network to apprehend speed, and then people who flout speed regulations, and also those who pass through red light. That one I can assure you, and I think my good friend police may give some details about that. So that is gone very far. What we are now pushing in terms of advocacy, it is the dualization that our good friends mentioned. We know that dualization is going to come. After all, we saw that in the budget that was read recently in Parliament. The government has already earmarked some budget allocation for Accra, Kumasi in particular, to be an express road. We have also seen that the Accra-Akosombo, Streatham-Akosombo has already been awarded on contract for dualization. We have also been told in the budget that government's plan for dualizing the Accra to Winnipeg through Cape Coast to Takoradi has also been done. So it means that very soon, through advocacy, all these roads that we are talking about will be dualized, and that is good news for public safety. We are also then looking at how the DVLA's automation, which the SUPO is talking about, can now be operationalized fully to work in tandem with the police automation and then the insurance automation. So thanks very much. The insurance industry has now automated. DVLA has automated. And so we're expecting the police automation to also come up so that the three will work in tandem. Now, one particular problem we have is the towing, the removal of disabled vehicles. And I think we are working towards that. I am happy the select committee, the chairman has mentioned it. It is one thing that will be pushing through Parliament very soon under our authority dispensation. There is also a very strong element of training of our drivers. Training. And I think that in the coming months, we have issued a directive that all commercial transport service providers must take their drivers through defensive driving, and it is mandatory. And so we're going to use our authority mandate to ensure that they do. We are also looking at, in the coming months, how we ourselves, the police and other stakeholders, together with Parliament, would have to put something in place to regulate the motorcycle usage in Ghana. Today, from set documentary, you could see so many of the crashes coming from the motorcycles. And indeed, if you look at the statistics as we're talking about, currently there's 771 deaths that we have recorded in 3 months. Almost 45, 46, or about 48% of them come from the motorcycle and the tricycle. So it means that moving forward, we have to do something drastic, whatever way it should be, to be able to regulate or take control of the use of motorcycles, whether privately or commercially. It is something that we must do.
Yeah.
So if we put all these mechanisms together, the National Road Safety Authority will provide that lead role, and that lead role will end up minimizing the deaths and the injuries.
Yeah,
That one, we are working strongly towards that.
I must tell you that you really sort of broke the solutions down, and they're clearly DVLA seem to be doing a lot. And I've heard the word tonight, lip service. We just pray that this is not another round of lip service. I mean, we just want to wish and I said that what we've heard really is a solution to the problem, and that will enforce it. I want to take him. I want to return now hear from Seth. He did the documentary. What does he want to see as fruits of his documentary from here, from all that we've heard in terms of the solution? I'll hear from Mr. Aqua and also Mr. Obeng as we wrap up. Stay with me. And thank you for staying with us. My guest is Kennedy Osenya, co-chairman of the Roads and Transport Committee in Parliament. We have Supo Alexander Obeng, who is the director in charge of education and training at MTTD. Sir Kwame Boateng, who I'm coming to next, is the producer. Crashed documentary on the back of which we're having this conversation. Honorable Alexander Kwesi-Aqua is MP at Chemodan. He survived this. He's talked about his own role now, which is going to be an ambassador for road safety. David Osafo Adonting, who just gave us this very elaborate breakdown of the next big steps that the Road Safety Authority is going to be taking. Let me come to Alexander Aqua. We've just had the Road Safety Authority articulate a very clear roadmap to fixing the problem. How much faith do you have in what you've heard tonight? And how much confidence does it give you that this time going forward, we should be able to get in the grip of this problem?
No, I think that we've come far. I mean, if you heard him, I mean, the insurance industry is automated. And then we have DVLA also going automation. What it means is that when we have the police coming on board, it becomes easier.
Yeah.
Once we've all agreed that technology is the way to go, then we have to just make sure we empower those who are to enforce the regulations. I mean, if it has to be with technology, there's no interference. There's no interference. And I think that we're getting there because, you know, this is something that could affect any other person. It could affect anybody. Yeah. And from the documentary, which I know is going to run for some time now,
yes.
I only hoped that this documentary had come at the time that Parliament was in session, so that we could also push it to the floor of the House and generate some more debates and get it done. You know, because these are people who must see the seriousness of road carnage.
Absolutely. Super Bing. So I want to come to, because a lot of what I heard from the Road Safety Authority involves you. Yes. He says there's a lot of conversation that had far advanced to get this rolled out. In the beginning, you used the word, part of our problem is that we pay lip service. From what you said and know what should happen,
he sounded very disappointed in the edition.
Yeah, at the beginning. Does this change your mood towards the solving of the problem at all? Do you have any confidence in the latest accessions and plan being rolled out?
Road safety has, from time now, been the back burner. Yeah. Even in world geopolitics. According to UN, now it is at the front burner. And we have been able to diagnose our problems. The countermeasures are clear. Okay, what is important? Why? Were we not here when these countermeasures we confronted it frontally, and we all scattered and left? For example, dealing with broken down vehicles. Why did we leave it?
He says it's coming back.
Okay, I want to see these scientific countermeasures that have helped other countries, which we have incorporated in our LI and our policy, but we are not implementing in our lifetime in present. These are the things. And one thing that was, and today was also clear, is that when UN talked about these 6 things we talked about, the economic factor was not factored in, and it has been a bane. Investment in it. Again, they also mention political will. Are you getting it? These are major resources that drives road safety intervention. When you have political leadership.
Do you have that? Do you have political will?
I think so now. I think we have it because Parliament have done whatever they are supposed to do. For me, I have nothing against Parliament. They have passed all the legislation. In fact, Ghana has one of the best legislations when it comes to, we are dealing with about 190 UN member countries. We have the, count 15, we will be among them. Therefore, I think that if it is about towing, it is now. If it is about dealing with motorcycle, finding solution to the gap that exists, it is this present.
So we don't politicize it.
If it is about
it became a huge political football.
Driver training, which we said it in Regulation 33, we should do it.
I mean, the DVLA, sorry, Russell is saying it now. Do you believe it now?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I believe in it. And for example, Parliament have said way back in 2004 and enforces in 2012 that when police should be automated to deal with road offenders on their feet. You get what I'm talking about. When you go to section 118 and regulation 157 of Acts 683 and then LI 2180 of 2004 and 2012 respectively.
Is there?
It is there.
I mean, that's what I hear you say is that everything that I just heard is already.
These are not.
It's a case of now implementing it.
So the point is that we know it, and so we are the best. When you talk about UN system, Ghana is one of the best countries that prides itself in terms of knowledge on road safety. But it's left with implementing.
If you look at where you are now in the conversations with Road Safety Authority, are you confident that these now will be moved from paper to?
That's why I said that I think that the political will is also there.
Okay.
And therefore that solves the problem.
Okay.
And we want to see things on the ground.
Okay.
Because it cannot be business as usual, police goes on the road and stand. No.
Okay.
It won't work, and therefore I'm happy that not in a distant millennia, but in our lifetime, even today, that we have purpose in our heart to implement these.
Okay.
And I'll stand for it.
Okay, great.
And I'll drive it.
Great.
And I'll show leadership.
Great. Mr. Akwa, Ambassador for Road Safety.
Yes.
All the best.
Looking at the politicization of Okada.
Yeah.
you know, on the back of last.
We just run out of time, but that clearly is an issue.
Certainly.
Depoliticizing road safety.
Certainly.
And making it one
so that
for,
we know that it's a major health issue.
Yeah, and I'm guessing we're going to be seeing more of you now that you become an ambassador for road safety. I mean, and we'll be calling you when we have to. Kennedy Osei Nyako is the chairman, Roads and Transport Committee. Thank you, sir, for also joining us. You laid out the solutions for us, and we had the Road Safety Authority also conclude that loop. We'll be keeping a close eye on these assurances and commitments that have been made over the time. And then next year, by this time, when we come back to this point, see if the numbers are going as a result of Road Safety Authority, Supo obeying, and Kennedy Nyako all working together to ensure that this matter is dealt with. Enjoy the rest of the evening.